I knew a long time ago that this was the way the Packers season was going to end. I just didn't want to admit it. And I'm a prideful guy. I take pride in my picks and my predictions, especially before the season, because I do put energy, I do put effort and analysis into my preseason picks. And my 2 Super Bowl preseason picks are now done before we even get to the divisional round of the playoffs. I had Packers and Bengals, and we saw how it went for the Bengals. I think had they gotten into the playoffs, they might have gotten there. Who knows? But they didn't. They didn't get in because their defense was wretched, and I did not expect their defense to be that wretched all season long. For the Packers, what they displayed tonight was exactly what they displayed all season long, and it is completely perplexing. It is perplexing because they are better than everything they showed against the Eagles. But you know what? They got exactly what they deserve, and they finished exactly what they started. This was a season that was defined by an inability to get over the hump, to be able to beat teams that are better than you or beat teams that are equal to you. And that's why this was a squad that made the postseason but lost to seemingly all of the playoff caliber teams they played, namely in their own division, where they got swept by the Lions, swept by the Vikings, and lost to this very same Eagles team to open up the year in Brazil. For some reason, Jordan Love's season was a roller coaster all year, and part of this is injuries. I'm not going to say that it wasn't part of it. I'm always going to be respectful of guys that are banged up, especially this time of the year. But I don't think it was just that. I don't think it was just injuries. For some reason, the Jordan Love consistency factor was never there. And perhaps it was a wide receiver thing that they never had a real wide receiver one. Last week, we spoke to Lindsey Rhodes, former NFL Network host, now NFL analyst for 2 podcasts. And I think there's a reasonable thing there that he never had a go-to guy like Rodgers used to have with Devontae, or maybe even before that, Rodgers had with Jordy Nelson, or even before that, what Favre had. I understand that. But you had Josh Jacobs have an elite season behind you, and Love just could never elevate his play in the passing game to go alongside it. And everything that we saw last year in that win over the Cowboys was nowhere to be found this year. That explosive play on a consistent basis, that confidence, that command of the offense, Love couldn't get there. Also, this Packers team seemingly played stupid football so much of the season. And today against the Eagles, it was much of the same. It was self-inflicted wounds. It was an offense that just simply could not get in gear until it didn't matter. It was a defense that allowed the play that just couldn't be allowed when it mattered. And all year long, it just was the same old story. I will go to my grave believing the 2024 Packers had so much more to give, and they just never gave it. And I will readily admit there was not a lot of evidence to that, because every time they played a good team, they didn't step up. And I've been bellyaching about this all year. And once we got to the end of the regular season, once I saw the way they lost to the Bears, I said, that's it. Game over. There was no turning on the Jets in the playoffs. There was no, this is a dangerous wild card team in the postseason. Even the number today, 4.5, that became 5.5 in many places. I did not trust the Packers to keep this within a score. I did not trust them. I had waited for the bus, as I like to say, all season long, and it never came. And I said, I am not waiting for this bus anymore. The Eagles by more than the touchdown, probably double digits, and that's what happened today. And so the Packers, the whole thing was so disappointing all year. So disappointing. Also, from an Eagles standpoint, I don't know what that says about the Eagles, that they couldn't dispatch of the Packers with more ease. I certainly don't know what it says about A.J. Brown reading a self-help guide, the inner wisdom on the sideline during a playoff game that you lead. This is a wide receiver on the winning football team, and he's using a prop book on the sideline. I mean, everything's fine with the Eagles. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Everything's just fine. What are we doing? What are we doing? And the crazy thing is the Eagles defense is so good. The Eagles defense is so talented. This team, top to bottom, has more talent than it knows what to do with. The secondary is elite. Howie Roseman has built this superb roster. And Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, the passing, what happens there, the chemistry issues, the happiness issues, the contentment, whatever this whole thing is. Nick Sirianni, can he control himself? Are they winning in spite of him? This thing feels so loaded that it can't end with a Super Bowl victory. And yet here we are as they're moving into the second round, the divisional round of the playoffs. And I don't know if anybody wants to play them either. So go figure, the Philadelphia Eagles, even in what should be a pretty impressive victory, leave a lot of questions for Eagles fans. I'm sure nobody's going to care about any of that this week, and I'm sure it's going to be a very calm week on sports radio in Philadelphia. The Packers, the freaking Packers. What are we going to do with the Packers?